Don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we're going to be giving our final thoughts about the Saints' Week 6 matchup versus the Houston Texans. Of course, we know the New Orleans Saints fell to the Houston Texans by a score of 20-13 on yesterday. The Saints, as of right now, are a 500 team at 3-3, and this is a very short week. The New Orleans Saints get a home game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. So when we say put the final thoughts on this, I mean, we really have to put the final thoughts on this. Yesterday, if you're watching this or listening to this on a Monday, Sunday, the New Orleans Saints really the New Orleans Saints really let a lot of people down. I think that when you look at this team, the way that they were structured, the way that everybody was just so excited about the direction the team was going in and getting all excited about what the season could actually be for the New Orleans Saints, bringing in Derek Carr, getting Michael Thomas back, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed going into their second year, and you got all these different weapons. You got Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau, and the list goes on and on. People were excited about what this team could be. And all we heard were good things about this team as far as the talent, as far as what was going on in practice, as far as what was going on in training camp. And we pretty much just got the same exact thing that we had last year. And I don't understand, how anybody at this particular point can really sit up here and say with a straight face that this recipe that is Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael are the answer for the foreseeable future for the New Orleans Saints. If you're saying stuff like that, you probably got an invested interest in the team. And maybe by them being around, maybe, it makes things work for you. For me, and I'm pretty sure for a lot of members of the Who Dat Nation, I got to say, we're tired of it. We're absolutely tired of this. I am tired of sitting in front of this camera, behind this microphone, and bashing a team that I have loved since I was 4 years old. I know some people may think that I get joy out of doing this. I do not. I don't. I try to bring a little bit of entertainment to it to make people laugh and have a good time, but I don't take pride in bashing a team that I loved since I was 4 years old. Since the times that I was sitting on my grandmother's couch, watching the games in her den, right? I can, honestly, I can envision sitting on the couch. Then the older folk come up in there and say, boy, sit on the floor, right? Because we all know how to, if you're from the South, you know what I'm talking about. Grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunt come up in this joint. Look, you getting on the floor, okay? You don't have seniority. So I'm sitting on the floor watching the Saints game. Some of them on VHS because I go to church at 11 o'clock and, we hitting rewind and watching the games. And I can remember my grandmother's furnace right next to the couch. I'm right there and toasty on a November afternoon. And I'm watching this team. And win, lose, or draw, I still believed in this team. So I do not take pride in doing this. But I am not going to sugarcoat it to try to make other people feel comfortable about how they feel or how they should feel. That's not my job. My job is to, number one, give you something that's entertaining, And number two, give you my perspective. And that is what we built this show around. And this team is horrible. And it's not because of the players. It's not because the players don't have talent. I think if that was the case, I think we all can just be like, well, you know what? It's not the Saints' year. But when you look at P. Carmichael, the fact that this guy did not want the job in the first place, the fact that the Saints was so afraid to embark on a new journey post Drew Brees and Sean Payton that they had to hold on to the remnants of this. And instead of them thinking that that was going to catapult them forward or push them forward, it pushed them all the way back. And we're in the same position that the Saints were afraid to be in. Because this isn't going to change, Who Dat Nation. It's not going to change. Like, the Saints can go out here and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you'll probably put a couple people's minds at ease because their emotions are based on the performance of the team. But it's not going to change anything. It's going to be the same mixed bag of win one, lose one, win one, lose one. The offense looks good this week. Defense take a step back. Defense look good one week. The offense takes a step back. We hear the same old vanilla press conferences from Dennis Allen talking about we need to clean this up, clean that up. And people are tired of it. And I have nothing against Dennis Allen personally. I don't know the dude. When I say that Dennis Allen is a loser, I'm not talking about in life. I know he has a beautiful family and kids, and that's a great thing. But when it comes to being a leader of men, when it comes to actually coaching a team in situational football is key. He's a loser. And when it comes to Pete Carmichael, the same thing. I don't know him. As a person, everything I hear about Pete Carmichael, he's a great person, a great offensive mind. And all those things could be true. But when it comes to calling the plays, when the ebbs and flows are going, he's terrible. And he's a loser. And that is what I'm saying. And when you have two beta male individuals in Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen, you are going to have a team that is a mixed bag. Attitude reflects leadership. People was trying to talk about me yesterday when I posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, when I said that when Alvin Kamara came out during his press conference and he was talking to the media and he said stuff about him really trying to put his best foot forward to be the best player that he can possibly be, and how some guys aren't doing that. People got on me because I said, and I wondered if these guys feel that entitled to a point where they feel like they don't have to go the extra mile. They don't have to stay a little bit late. They don't have to go out here to do the little small things to make themselves better. Then what gave them the energy? What gave them that idea that they can actually even focus and do those things or feel entitled to even feel that way? It's the leadership. It is the leadership, man. That's all there is to it. I don't care what anybody is saying. This is like life, right? It's like telling your child every single night, you don't got to go to bed at 8:30. You ain't like, I take my son, for example. It's like me telling Paxton, my 4-year-old son, you don't have a bedtime, right? You don't have a bedtime. That's fine. You know, you go to bed anytime you want to, right? But we go visit a family member and their kids go to bed at 8:30. And I tell Paxton, well, time to go to bed at 8:30. If Paxton starts going against it, how can I blame him? I put that culture in place. The culture of the New Orleans Saints is an issue. And I don't care what these guys are saying as far as, I got accountability. It's on me. It's on me. It's on me. That's PR stuff. Like, nobody's going to come out here and say, you know what? We suck. We stink. It's him, and they're the reason why we losing. Nobody's going to do that. And it's amazing to me how people just take the words of these guys like what you think they're going to say. These guys don't want to get fined. You go up there and criticize the referees, that's over $10,000 fine. You ain't wearing socks. Tyreek Hill got fined for not wearing socks, $16,000. And you really think that you're going to get hardcore, real emotion after, man, give me a freaking break. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, of course, they're going to give you, oh, yeah, it's on me. I got to look at myself in a mirror type stuff. But we know, like, seriously, we know when it's a culture thing. At least you should. Culture is a way of life. And I don't care what you're saying. Like, people say stuff all the time. But when you remove all of the fluff and all the other things, you actually see. And what we see is an inconsistent football team. It's inconsistent. And it starts with the head coach. It starts with the offensive coordinator. And that's just what it is. And I'm not trying to get myself worked up about a team that don't give a damn about the fan base to a point where they're willing to double down on certain situations because they're so afraid to remove themselves from Sean Payton and Drew Brees, so they try to hold on to everything they possibly can. I'm going to be honest with you, Who Dat Nation. I will be content if the New Orleans Saints were to move on from these two guys and find somebody else, and maybe they don't even have a good showing of it. At least I know you're trying. But the fact that you're trying to sweat to the oldies like Richard Simmons, and you're continuously pushing your team back because you're afraid, that is the culture of the New Orleans Saints. An afraid franchise. You can see it within the organization, and it translates to the field. The Saints aren't trying to convert on third down. They're trying to get a 4th and 1 so they can be in position for a field goal. That is the type of mentality your favorite team and my favorite team has. And I don't need a press conference to tell me that. I can see it with my own damn eyes. This is an afraid football team that is trying to do everything they can to get it right, but they are having a terrible outing of it. And it's getting absolutely sad to think about. Like, it is sad watching this football team. And it just does not make sense. If they were a terrible team and they had a terrible roster, then I would be up here saying, man, you know what? It ain't it. But when you see guys that are talented and you know for a fact if they went to another team that had an offensive-minded coach that was innovative, they would probably be one of the best in the league. It's just absolutely sickening to watch these guys just basically just squander a whole entire year of production because these coaches can't put them in the right position to succeed. It's sad. It's absolutely sad, man. And honestly, like I said, I'm just sick of it. So if people are out here, and I don't know who they are, I don't care. If you are not willing to put this team's foot to the fire after what you have seen, you are doing a disservice to every single person that follows you, that listens to you, that reads anything that you put out. And I understand how the business aspect of things go, right? You got to go along to get along, right? So you can't really just go out here and say certain things. I get it. But at the end of the day, I ain't rolling like that. My responsibility is to the people that made this show what it is and made me who I am as a personality. And I just think that a lot of people feel like they may have something to lose by maybe this organization turning over. You know, maybe by turning it over, you might lose some things. But I don't care. Like, this is not a good football team at this particular point. It is what it is. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments. Now I'll open up the phone lines and then we'll take it from there. Let's see. Dennis Allen got everything he wanted during the offseason and got the same results. It's on him. He should be fired. Things will not change. Let's see. Waited all summer for this. It's not worth keeping Dennis Allen or P. Carmichael even for defense if they still not winning. Gail not running the show. She just got the money. Mickey is running the Saints. I don't think he's going to fire himself. Let's see. Burn it all to the ground and let's rebuild like we are known for. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Get Frank Smith for Dolphins OC or Ben Johnson from the Lions. Yeah, I mentioned that. Like Ben Johnson, Eric Bieniemy, Jim Harbaugh from the college ranks. Like, that's just a wave. That's just a wave of the modern day NFL, man. Like, no disrespect to the defensive-minded coaches out there, but you rarely see defensive-minded coaches in a modern-day NFL like find success. Like most of the teams that have success, they have an offensive-minded coach. Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sirianni, Mike McDaniel, like all these different coaches out here, Sean McVay, they're offensive-minded coaches. And not to say that defensive-minded coaches can't find success. I mean, Mike Tomlin has found success. Sean McDermott has found success. I mean, you got the guys, but for the most part, the teams that are consistently winning and putting up points and really being in contention are led by offensive-minded coaches. And I just think that when it comes to defensive-minded coaches, they are more cerebral and strategic, and sometimes they get in their own way because, number one, they want the ball to be in the offensive hands of the opposition and their defense to be out there. And then a lot of times, they're just basically playing for points. They're not thinking about being aggressive. So I think that maybe they need to go that route because, like I said, most of the coaches in the NFL that are successful are offensive-minded. So I don't know. Maybe it's time for us to find offensive-minded coach like we've had over the last decade and a half and see where it goes from there. I put the link down in the comments, and I'll answer questions in the meantime before we actually get some people in. I mentioned yesterday on the pre-show for the Week 6 game, I talked about Pete Carmichael. I said that Pete Carmichael, to me, he reminds me of this wrestling producer by the name of Vince Russo. For some of my wrestling fans out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. But Vince Russo was an executive. He worked at WWF at the time, right? And a lot of people looked at Vince Russo and the storylines that he created, like back in the day that we enjoyed, doing what they call the Attitude Era when Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker were wrestling and wrestling was really, really popular, right? So Vince Russo would get all the credit. Oh, he's such a great, he's such a great writer. He's a great producer. He creates all these different storylines that we love. And he ended up getting a promotion and moving to another wrestling company. And he was head of creative and all those other things. But what that company didn't realize was behind the scenes, the one that was saying yes and no to the ideas was Vince McMahon. So some of those off the wall ideas he probably had, Vince probably said no. But what happens when he doesn't have a buffer anymore? 5 years later, WCW went out of business. People stopped watching. The ratings went down. They were at its lowest. My point is, when you don't have a buffer, you don't have that person that will hide your imperfections. And everybody now is seeing Pete Carmichael, seeing his imperfections, seeing that Sean Payton was the mastermind. He was the guy. And even though Pete Carmichael probably had some really good ideas, he still had Sean Payton to say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's go in this direction, and helping him see a different angle. Pete Carmichael no longer has that. And I think that was one of the main reasons why he didn't want the job, because he knew what he was deep down inside. For that, I respect Pete Carmichael. What I don't respect is the New Orleans Saints' desperation of trying to make this dude do something that he really did not want to do. Because that showed fear. And honestly, like that is not what you want to see in your organization, the team that you root for. But let's go ahead. We're going to go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, TJ? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. What you got for us today?
Hey, man, look, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to call in on Sunday because I know everybody had their different opinion. I had myself a good weekend, and I'm not going to let this bad taste in my mouth from the Saints loss Sunday affect me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's always a good thing because I want to share this with you, TJ, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Who that to y'all?
Yeah, who that?
I would rather be 3 wins and 3 losses than being winless. No wins and 6 losses already in the 6 weeks already. Because if we were 0-6, TJ, we're gonna have them come to Jesus moments.
Oh yeah, that's
They're
a good
big
point.
time.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing, Jerry. I agree with you what you're saying right there. That's a really good point. But I think when you look at the Carolina Panthers, I'm pretty sure that's who you were alluding to. When you look at the Carolina Panthers, nobody really expected them to do anything. You know, like you got a new head coach, a lot of young players that they're converting from a 4-3 to a 3-4. You got a young, inexperienced quarterback, not a very good offensive line. So, and you don't have a number one receiver. So a lot of people are like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's probably going to be a rough year for them. Whatever.
Right.
When you look at the New Orleans Saints, you got a veteran quarterback that you signed in the offseason that you felt like was going to help this team. You get Michael Thomas back, an all-pro, a former NFC Offensive Player of the Year. You got Chris Olave, who was coming into his own. You got Rashid Shaheed, who is a breath of fresh air and just shows you the type of like scouting department you have. You got all these weapons, and not to mention your defense been ranked in the top 10 for the last 4 or 5 years. So everybody expected for this team to have to actually find some level of success. And the fact that we're sitting here at 3-3, you know, you got to look at it a little bit different. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan here, sitting here at 3-3, you kind of like, okay, man, we got something here. But for the Saints, with a veteran roster and a coaching staff that is very familiar with the players because they've been there for the most part since some of those players were drafted, and you still can't get the best out of these guys, that is the most frustrating thing about it. But I agree with what you're saying as far as like not letting this team like get to you. And I think everybody should be like that, Jerry. Like seriously, I think everybody should be like that because like my mom often says, when somebody show you who they are, believe them. And I just think that we for 2 seasons, we fell for the banana in the tailpipe. And now it's like, we cannot allow this organization to fool us again. That's my whole point.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, last week you went up to Foxborough.
Right.
You faced a bad Patriots team and shut them out 34-0.
Right.
But coming into Houston on Sunday, I mean, you just like you had your foot off the gas or something like that, bro. I mean, you got to keep that train going. I mean, you can't let the momentum slow you down because we don't know. Because looking at that game Sunday, TJ, these are not the same Houston Texas team that we're accustomed to seeing. It's a totally different Texas team that we face on Sunday because with C.J. Stroud starting off at quarterback, and you know, and this different Texas team. It's like we fell into a trap, TJ. That's all it felt like. And I know, and I heard somebody say that the Texans should win that game, and they did because. I'll put it like this, TJ. Going into that game Sunday, we weren't built for that.
No,
we weren't built for that, bruh.
I just look. This is the way that I feel. When you watch the first half of that game, you can tell like which team didn't want it and what team really wanted it. You had the Houston Texans. These guys were fighting for extra yards. They was pushing the Saints around. All these things, and it's like in the second half, that's when they started to wake up, like defensively. That's when you seen C.J. Stroud not really, pushing the ball. They kind of confused them a little bit. This is the story of the New Orleans Saints, Jerry. Like, seriously. They got to get their ass kicked in order for them to be able to wake up at all. Like that's why I keep saying, like, this team is not progressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not a progressive team. They're a reactionary team. Like, they only respond when their back is against the wall and they feel like everybody is against them, and then all of a sudden, oh, let me show you. But what happens if you consistently do these things? Yeah, you'll find success. Like their whole entire structure is basically up and down from the way that they play from each quarter. For each half, from the games that they play. Like it's a mixed bag. And like I said, I don't see any signs of change. I don't see any signs of this changing at all. as long as these two guys are are part of this coaching staff.
Right.
I mean, so that's the way I feel. You got anything else, man?
Now, TJ, that's all I had to say about it, bro. And let's just get ready for this Thursday night because, like I said, we got a busy week. After we lost to the Texans, now we got the Jaguars coming in town to open up week 7 for Thursday night football. Let's just stay positive, Who That Nation. That's all I can give you.
Yeah, that's all we can do, man.
We're not out the woods yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're not out the woods yet, and I know a lot of people want to stay optimistic, man. But just like anything in life, man, you got to give somebody something to believe in. It can't just come from, you just can't be like, okay, man, I believe. That's good, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, we all know, man, you got to be able to put your best foot forward in order to give somebody something to believe in. And people want, I don't think this is a deal breaker as far as people's love and allegiance to the team, but I do think it's probably going to change the way that some people, spend their hard-earned money to watch this team or support this team. So they got to do something, man, because the morale of the Who That Nation is not good right now. But Jerry, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it, and call back anytime, man.
We'll do, TJ. Blessings to you and your family, brother. And shouts out once again to the chat. I love y'all. Ain't nothing y'all can do about it. Let's just stay positive and just have a good week.
All right, you too, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
Yeah, I agree with Jerry, man. I mean, you got to stay positive, but you also want to, have something to believe in. Like that's my whole thing. Like when a team is like basically just playing with your emotions, like one week y'all looking like world beaters, the next week you're looking like you should be picking in the top 3. It's kind of hard for people to be able to process that and feel like they can actually believe in that squad, man. All right, we're going to go to Tragic. Tragic, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, TJ.
Hey, man, what you got for us today?
I kind of agree with on some of that sentiment that Jerry said. I know where he's coming from, like being 0-6 versus 3-3, because being 3-3, it gives them that false hope, and it's sort of like that. You end up like the frog that's in a bucket of hot water, but he's actually in a bucket of warm water, and they turn that water up slowly, and before you know it, that frog is cooked. But if the water was hot, the frog will jump right away, and that's how the Saints management is with reacting to Dennis Allen and his coaching staff.
Right.
And like you said, this coaching staff needs to change. This whole philosophy, the philosophy of system is somewhat dated. Everybody's going to a more RPO style, and they're running offenses that's based from those 7-on-7 football leagues, more passing concepts, and our offense just lacks it. And even if you see it in Denver, Sean Payton's offense not even lighting up there. He's now become like one of these old fossils now, where when he was younger, he was more innovative. And you see like these younger coaches that's probably come from like the Madden generation, that's like, out coaching these old dinosaurs now. The last time our offense even had some pop in, it was when you bought a young guy that kind of helped out with the offense, even though he wasn't successful in Carolina, but maybe he bought some concepts that was innovative to what we had now when we had Joe Brady in here. So coaching is not just a one-man game. It's really like a team, just like the players on the field. Coaching is a team, and you need, like you say, you need all those different inputs to make the thing go right. And it seems like since all of them got dismantled, you're just starting to see all their spots come out. Sean Payton, Carmichael, Brady when he went to Carolina, but maybe when they all together, the sum was greater than the parts.
Yeah. Look, Trash, I'm gonna take y'all to church real quick, man. I know a lot of people probably heard about the book of Job, right? And there was this conversation between God and the devil. And the devil told God, of course, Job is going to do everything that you say. Like you do everything for him. Remove that veil, and I guarantee you, you gonna see who Job really is. I'm paraphrasing it, right? That's kind of like what they did with the Saints. Like, yeah, Dennis Allen, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you put him right here, like he's a good coordinator, right? You get Pete Carmichael up in here, he's a good offensive coordinator. But what happens when you reveal what these guys really are? When you remove the veil that is Sean Payton, how good are these guys really? Like, I mean, seriously, like, and that's what, like, they got exposed. Not so much Dennis Allen, because we just figured out you are who you are. It doesn't matter how bad the organization is, how bad the Raiders were at the time. You just aren't good at being a head coach. Pete Carmichael, we pretty much just found out that all these years he honestly was on juicy fruit duty, as we were joking about. We found that out. Now that you found it out, this is my issue. Now that you found this out, why are you trying to make this thing work? It is not going to work. Like, you gave these guys an opportunity. And I'm pretty sure, like, you know, Dennis Allen is going to use Pete Carmichael as a scapegoat. And it just seemed like Mickey Loomis probably going to double down and bring him back. And they'll probably be like, oh, well, the defense looks good. And once again, with that scary behavior that they have, Tragic, we scared that we're going to have to restructure the defense again, so we can't get rid of Dennis Allen. So let's try to find an offensive coordinator. So this dude is going to come back. Like, seriously, he's going to come back. I don't see, like, if this was any other organization that has some balls, both of these guys will be going at the end of the season. But, of course, once again, it's the fear of the R word, which is rebuild. But eventually you're going to have to do that yourself because, I mean, people going to want different results. So it's up to them, man. But at the end of the day, don't expect for as many people to stick around and support what you're doing if you're not even smart enough to make these decisions and move on. You rather just, you know, put it like this because you're worried about what it may be perceived. But you're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. Everybody know that these two guys are incompetent. So
you're right.
That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, you're right. In the last 2 weeks, you know, we have been like a boring football team to watch. Last 2 weeks, I done took naps in the game. You know, we not even when we win, we're not excited.
Yep, boring football. Like, I don't look. People want us, like, if you were led by your defense, like how the Saints have been, nobody would care. Like, if eventually, like, your offense was putting up 24, 27 points or something like that from time to time. Like, we can have a 20-13 game every now and then, but not every week. You know what I'm saying? Like, people want to see points. People want to see good execution. Like, if I wanted to see spotty execution, no disrespect, but I'll watch the USFL or the XFL, something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see a bunch of messed up offensive plays from there all the time, but they are not on that particular level. So you kind of understand that. When you are at the top, you expect to see top-notch offensive innovation along with some really good defensive schemes. We ain't seeing that consistently, and that's the problem. So I don't know what they're trying to figure out here. I don't expect for a change to take place. This is a short week. Like, I don't expect anything to change. I expect Pete Carmichael to be calling them same vanilla-ass plays he's been calling for the last all season long. But when you got 10 days to your next game, something needs to change. And if they don't do anything, it pretty much just tells us as fans that they don't care. So why should we? I mean, you got anything else, man?
Yeah, I think you need to work on the It's On Me Baby remix, the Saints version.
You said the what now?
The It's On Me Baby. Yellow Beezy. It's On Me. The Saints remix version.
Hey man, these songs pretty much make themselves, man. And like I said, man, I enjoy like entertaining people. I would like to like make some songs where people could actually, you know, like and be like, man, the team is good. Like, I'm waiting for that moment where I can just make a little parody song when the team is good. But yeah, man, I mean, we got some stuff coming along the way. Hopefully it's some positive songs as well, man. But Tragic,
right.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. You call back anytime. Thank you for your input.
All right. Keep up the good work.
All right, you too, man. Take care. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Tragic, man. Doing an outstanding job, man. Every time I talk to the brother, man, always coming through. You know, man, people just love this team. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a huge letdown that they're playing the way that they are, because we all know that this team is much better than what they showing right now. And just hopefully they can get back on track. Pierre, thank you very much for becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate that. Patrick says, I seriously hope we drop the next 4 to 5 games at this point. I happily take that kind of consistency. Need a serious eye opener for this staff. Thank you very much for the $4.99. And Jacob says they should pay Brees $150 million to coach this team. Thank you very much for the $4.99. Look, they need to get something. Like I'm not like I don't know about Drew Brees as the head coach, but if you want to bring him in as a consultant or something like that, that'll be fine. But I just think that this team just needs a breath of fresh air, a young coach that can be able to help this team embark on a new journey. I mean, take a chance, kind of like how you did with an offensive coordinator who never was a head coach, who went from the Cowboys and the Giants, and you did your due diligence, and you found the right guy. The guy name was Sean Payton, right? I mean, nobody knew who Sean Payton was. Sean Payton was an offensive coordinator who was a Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells' disciple, and the Saints gave him a chance. So why not give it to another young, vibrant coach that comes in with different ideas and be able to put his stamp and instill his culture? Like, how about doing that? But I guess that's too much to ask. Let's go to Shaq. Shaq, how you doing?
Yo, TJ, what's up, bro?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for calling in. What you got for us today?
Yeah, appreciate you having me, bro. I'm not gonna be too long, but this team, bro, this team is ridiculous. Like I've been a Saints fan since 06. I think I was in like the 4th or 5th grade.
Okay.
And they drafted Reggie. I wasn't there for the paper bag era, but this is probably the most disappointing team to watch, just because we know they have the talent, right? Offensively, defensively. Drew Brees would kill for this talent. He'll probably get off his couch right now and put up 27, 30 points per game. No problem with these guys. And after, like, just watching yesterday, like, after the interception, you just knew the interception that Zach Bond caught and then he fumbled. You just knew what type of day it was going to be. Because it's just the moral of the story for this team. It's been the same thing for the last 3 years. They take 1 step forward, 3 steps back. And like you said, nothing's going to change. They got to get rid of DA. They got to get rid of Pete. It's just disappointing, bro. Like, I don't know what else to say. I'm just venting right now. It's just frustrating because you spend so much time watching and supporting this team, and it's like, yeah, we watched them beat the Patriots last week, 34-0. You get your hopes up, and then they just lay an egg, and it's no accountability. DA is gonna say the same thing every week. Pete's gonna say the same thing. And you could tell the players are frustrated because, especially the defense, like when you watch the interviews with AK and DeMario and Cam, they knew they had a window. Like, you don't get this type of defense at any year, right? Like Drew Brees was saying that, Sean was saying it from 2018 that you don't get this type of defense. You got to take advantage of the window while it's open. And the window's closed now, and they know it. And it's like the same people keep making the same mistakes. There's no accountability. They just need to blow it up. Trade Marshawn, trade AK, trade Cam, trade DeMario, trade Mike, get your picks, fire everybody in the offseason, Pete, DA, and just rebuild because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, look, as far as like a complete overhaul of the roster, I don't know about that, but I will say this. I feel like you got the right guys. Like that's the thing. Like I think when you first opened up and you talked a little bit about having the right guys. Like, this is a good football team. If you have Sean Payton as your head coach, as bad as they looking in Denver, if he was the head coach, there's no way in the world the Saints would be 3-3. Because a lot of the situations that the Saints have faced and some of these losses have been making adjustments, right? Or that's one of the reasons why, to be honest with you, Shaq, I would rather the New Orleans Saints be losing at halftime versus winning at halftime. Because they can't hold the lead, and your best chance in order for you to come back is probably why their back is against the wall, because that's how they respond. Everything that they do under Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael, their back has to be against the wall in order for them to respond in any way. This is a good football team. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's just badly coached in certain situations. Like, you have to understand situational football. So that's why I'm telling people, like, you're talking about Dennis Allen staying with the team because the defense going to look good. It's still going to have to come down to situational football. Should you call that timeout? Yeah.
We should have known after week 1. We had like 4 picks and a block punt, and they put up 16 points. Like, what other team does that? Like, that's crazy. It should not, like, when I watch them on offense, it's like every yard they get is a struggle. Like it's like a sigh of relief when they get a first down because you just think they're gonna go 3 and out. The team's gonna get the ball at the 50 and go right down the field.
Yep. That's just the reality of it. Like, I feel like if you take these coaches and bring some new guys in with different, fresh ideas, I feel like this could be a winning team. The biggest issue that I'm having here is the Saints have squandered. They're not going to get a better situation than what they are in right now as far as the NFC South.
Right.
All of these teams are figuring it out. They were supposed to be the team that figured it out. The Atlanta Falcons.
They should be 5-1 right now. There's no reason they shouldn't be 5-1.
The Atlanta Falcons only can go up from here. Bijan Robinson is a rookie. Desmond Ridder is in his second year. Drake London is in his second year. Like, these guys are young, and their defense is young. Carolina, they got woes right now, but guess what? Those guys are going to start to grow and learn one another, and they're going to find success. Tampa, I don't know what they're going to do. Eventually, like, if they get a quarterback, especially if they get one in this draft that's deep, they can find themselves being right back in the same situation. The New Orleans Saints have a 34-year-old pass rusher, a 34-year-old linebacker. You got a 33-year-old or 32-year-old safety out there, a 31-year-old safety. So a lot of these guys are in a prime. They got like 2-3 years tops. So if you want to be honest, this was the year with the strike while the iron is hot. You had an easy schedule compared to schedule makers. You were the most experienced team, and they still couldn't get it done. And I'm afraid that because they didn't go out here and be aggressive when it comes to making some of the decisions with the coaching change, they might set themselves back. Like, that's my biggest concern. I do not want to be the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. I do not.
Right. That's why I'm saying when you watch the interviews with the leaders, you could tell they know the window's closed. Like, there's nothing's gonna change, right? They could probably sneak out maybe 7-8 wins, but if we go in the playoff, if we do happen to make the playoffs, which I don't think we'll make, and we play a Philly, San Francisco, even Dallas, even though they got destroyed by the Niners, their defensive line is gonna kill our O-line. Like, Derek Carr be lucky to make it out that game.
Yep.
So I feel personally, if they lay an egg on Thursday, I just hope it's bad. I just want the Jaguars to just get it over with, blow us out. So it's gonna be a repeat of last year on Thursday night where DA kept where he said to keep doing what you're doing. He had that comment. It's gonna be the same thing. Everybody's gonna realize, all right, he's not the answer. Get everybody out of there. Be sellers at the deadline. Like, I feel like we have a lot of good young pieces. When you talk about Shaheed, you got Alante Taylor, Adebo, Brazil looks good, Pete Werner looks good. You got some pieces on the O-line, they just can't stay healthy. That's the issue. I feel like trade some guys at the deadline and let them ring chase and get some picks back on the back end for it. Because this next draft is deep. You know, you got 4 or 5 quarterbacks that could potentially go first, second round. You got a lot of receivers. You got corners. They got to do something.
Yeah, you got to figure something out, man, because this ain't the move. Like, this is honestly ain't the move. Hopefully they can do that, man, and have the guts to be able to move on from this. But I highly doubt it. But Shaq, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call. Call back anytime, man.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too. Yeah, I mean, you gotta be aggressive. You gotta be brave enough to be able to make some of these decisions to be able to make your team better. And we'll see, man. We'll see. I think they want a winning product on the field, but I just think they're afraid to, like, move on from things that has made them successful throughout the years. You gotta get out your own way sometimes, you know. You can't be afraid of the unknown. You know, I think about that. Like, you know, me moving from Mississippi at the time where all my family and friends were, where I went to college, and I moved out to South Carolina, which is like 11 hours away, where I didn't know absolutely anybody. Now I feel like what would have happened if I didn't make that move? I wouldn't have been working at a radio station. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have my son. Wouldn't have my house. I wouldn't be able to do some of the things that I've been blessed to do. So sometimes like the unknown can be scary, but it can be necessary to reaching your full potential. And this team to me is afraid to do that, right? I mean, you don't really see too many teams doing what the Saints did. And it never ends in a positive way. I want to say the 49ers did it like when Jim Harbaugh left and went to Michigan. They decided to hire from within. I think they hired the offensive line coach to be their head coach, and they stunk. Like, they were horrible. I think that was like Kaepernick's last year or something like that, but they were terrible. Like, I don't know what it is, man, but it's probably best for you to just go in a different direction. You don't really see too many teams like hire from within and it's successful. I'm pretty sure you can probably find some if you really look thoroughly. But for the most part, it's kind of hard for a coach to be able to slide into that position when probably the guys that's on the coaching staff probably looked at you as like, man, you are equal just last year. Now I got to look at you in a different way. Like, I don't know about that. So probably best for you to move on. All right, we're going to go to Dalton. Dalton, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for chiming in. What you got for us today?
Well, before I get to the thing, though, to answer your question, it was Tom Sewell, defensive line coach, when Jim Harbaugh went to Michigan.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I wasn't going to get that right. I knew it was the offensive line coach, right?
Defensive line
coach. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
No problem. Anyways, back also about the Saints. Like, I'm sorry, like Pete Carmichael, Dennis Allen, they're done. They're not the real answer, though. Like, I forgot who it was. It was when like Josh, when he mentioned that Pete Carmichael didn't want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
If they wouldn't let him fire, though, why don't he just quit, though, if he can't get fired, though? That's what I'm wondering. Why?
Because most coaches not going to do that, Dalton, because you got to think about future opportunities, right? You don't want to be the coach that's known for like quitting, right? I mean, we seen how that worked for Joe Paterno, right? Like when he just quit in the middle of the year for the Atlanta Falcons to go to Arkansas. Like when teams look at you in that light, it's hard for you to be able to find another job. I don't think Joe Paterno will ever like get an opportunity. Bobby Petrino. I don't think he will ever get another opportunity to be able to be a head coach in NFL ever again. I guess, he wants to continue to do it because it might affect future opportunities later on. But I honestly don't feel like they should have made him do something that he wasn't really all in on.
I mean, I respect that, though. Like, I think once Pete Carmichael is done, he'll probably be offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, though. Depends what the other offense coordinator, like, if Ben Johnson goes to head coach somewhere, I could see him be offensive coordinator for the Lions. Depends who they promote him because, I mean, he knows with Dan Campbell, though. I mean, I just don't see him goes where the defensive coordinator and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I just feel like both of these guys, regardless to where, if they was to get let go, both of them will land on their feet. I think Pete Carmichael, to me, is more fit for like a consulting role, not so much about calling plays. I don't think he's going to get opportunity. He might get opportunity to call plays, but not like how he's doing now. I'm pretty sure he probably going to end up in Denver or something like that with Sean Payton again.
Or he also the Broncos, and also about yesterday's game, though, like you can tell Pete Carmichael and Derek Carr, they're not on the same page, and I feel like offensive line is struggling and running backs not being utilized, and the receivers, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, look, this offensive line is not very good. I'm just wondering why. Like some of these guys, Dalton, were protecting Drew Brees, right? And they didn't look like this. And you have to wonder to yourself, have these guys like really regressed to this particular point where they just can't virtually block anybody? Or is it the coaching? Like, it's kind of hard for me to just feel like guys just forget how to block, or their blocking isn't go from being effective 1 minute to not being effective the next. You got to look at the coaching. I think the coaches and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to instill inside these guys just isn't working, man.
It's not, and be honestly, like Doug Marrone, who's offensive line coach, I was never a big fan of him, though. I mean, he's not a good coach, though. When you saw, like, the Jaguars before they taken Trevor Lawrence, though, like, we knew he was done. I feel like he just not the guy, whether if it's him or the O-line, though. I mean, I get a Ryan Ramczyk. He's at 30s. Pete, he's old and washed. He can't stay healthy. Owies, I mean, he's gotten better as a guard, though. The problem was, like, they moved him to tackle. It wasn't comfortable. I mean, Trevor Penning, he's in the sophomore year. James Hurst, I'm not a big fan of him, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the Saints definitely need to go offensive line in the draft in the first round. To me, I think they definitely have to get a guard. I think you need to remove yourself from the Andrews Pete experience. I think they like Nick Seldevery, so I guess it depends on his development. But regardless, I still feel like you need to draft yourself offensive lineman in this draft, and maybe even like I don't even say even. It needs to be a left tackle. It needs to be a left tackle because to me, I don't think Trevor Penning is going to get any better. And the more that he gets beat off the line of scrimmage, like that's just going to affect his confidence more and more and more. And then the next thing you know, you're going to see him bouncing around the league like some of these other guys like Eric Flowers and all these other guys that had a bunch of potential but never could live up to it.
And I agree. And also earlier when I mentioned Frank Smith, don't be wrong, I like Ben Johnson. I think Frank Smith is the underrated candidate because he's coaching from Mike McDaniel because look at their playbook. That's why I mentioned his name, though. Like, I'm a defensive guy. Let's be honest, though. Like, and I agree with what you said, though. Like, offense's biggest weakness is defense, though. When I look at the defense coordinators, I don't see who would be better choices other than, I guess, maybe Jeff Ubridge from the Jets. I don't know about if he'll be a good choice, though, but offense coordinator. And I like Eric Bieniemy. The problem is I have a feeling he might be coaching Washington because he only picked Washington because they think Ron Rivera might be fired or step down after the season because we already know he's on a hot seat, though.
Yeah. I think one of the main reasons why he chose that was they were an offense that had potential, but they weren't living up to it. So by going to Washington, it can kind of just prove that, it was his coaching. And if they 3-3 right now, but offensively they look much better. I think it has a lot to do with Sam Howell being a quarterback. I think he was underrated coming out of North Carolina. But it just shows you that it wasn't just Andy Reid, it was him too. And you can see it. Like with the Commanders, their offense looks better. When it comes to the Chiefs, you can see like a difference now that Matt Nagy is their offensive coordinator. So I think it was more so like a kind of a prove it thing where he had to go somewhere else to prove that, there's something going on there and he's undeniable. Like you can no longer just say it was just because of Andy Reid. He has something to offer too. But my biggest issue, I think, would be Bieniemy. I think that he's an old school coach, and I think he might rub some players the wrong way because of his coaching style. I think to me, Eric Bieniemy's best spot to me would be on a college level. Like I think like that message and how he is and who he is as a coach, I think that he'll probably be better on a college level because you can kind of deal with, young, college students and college players like, be a little bit aggressive, kind of coach them up, not kind of baby them like these NFL players. Like, man, they grown. Like, I think Keyshawn Johnson said it best. He's like, can't be yelling at me. I got baby car seats in the back of my truck. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's a different type of vibe there, Dalton.
No, I agree with you on that one. That makes sense, though.
Yeah. You got anything else, man?
You're a wrestling fan, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Die hard.
Same here, though. I wouldn't be surprised if my Vince McMahon's voice, Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, you're fired.
I don't think anybody would be mad at him if they even bought Vince McMahon. Look, I'll actually enjoy that quite frankly. But look, I just need some change, Dalton. I just need some change, man. And I think that you probably on the same page with that. We just want to see something different so we can have an enjoyable experience on Fridays, on Sundays and Thursdays. So hopefully they can get it done, man. But it ain't looking like it, at least not this year. Like my last question for you before I let you go is, how you think this season is going to turn? How you think this season going to end up, I should say?
Like finish the record?
Yeah. What'd you think?
Man, this is really tough. Maybe like 6 wins or something. I mean, I love the Saints. I don't want to be no homer delusional, but my personal opinion, NFC South is weak though. Like the Panthers, they suck this year, so we'll do better than them. The Falcons, I know they got B. John Robinson. I hope they don't do like him. Like I know he's not Derrick Henry. Desmond Ritter, he's not the real answer. I know you got Kyle Pitts and Drake London. They didn't use them that much. I know, except for yesterday. The Bucks, I gotta see more about Bucks though. I mean, because I know you have Baker Mayfield. Todd Bowles like maybe 6 or 7 though, but I could be wrong though. We just gotta see. But I feel like NFC South is way whacked this year. Worst division in my opinion.
Oh yeah, There ain't no doubt about it. Yeah, they definitely the worst division right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure you got some other divisions out there that you can probably look at, but yeah, they probably the worst. I mean, every last one of the teams lost yesterday. And it seemed like it's crazy. It seemed like when one team win, everybody win. When one team lose, everybody lose. And I don't know, like we must have made a deal with the Atlanta Falcons or something like that, where they lose, we lose, and when we play each other, let the best team win. I don't know what the heck going on, but yeah, this is a bad division, and hopefully they can be able to fix it, man. Because man, this is awful right here. I mean, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, this division used to have MVPs and Super Bowl contenders, but now it's like a bunch of pretenders and an absolute joke right now. But Dalton, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call, man. Call back anytime.
All right, thank you, bro. You have a good day.
All right, you too, man. Take care. Yeah, man, this division has become an absolute joke. It's become an absolute joke. We're gonna take one more call, man, and then we're gonna go ahead and end the show. I got some stuff I gotta work on. So I appreciate everybody. Ask that if you wanted to chime in, just call back next episode. But I appreciate everybody for chiming in. We're gonna end it with Slim South. Slim, how you doing, man?
What's up, TJ? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. Thanks for chiming in on this loser Monday for the New Orleans Saints. But what you got for us, man?
All I gotta say is, in the words of one of my favorite rappers, DMX, same old ish dog, just a different day.
Right.
If you got an organization that's afraid of change, you'll never be a winner. Like we all know that Dennis Allen, he's a loser.
Mm-hmm.
As a head coach, he's a loser. So if you got to hold people accountable, and I'm gonna say this much, TJ. See Mickey Loomis, I'm starting to put him on a hot seat, brother. Like if you allow this to keep going on and on and on, you just expect people to show up to the dome and sell out the dome with this product, you'll never be successful, brother.
Yep.
Like you don't care about the Who That Nation. Let's be honest with you. They don't care about the Who That Nation. They just care about selling out the dome, buying some nachos, buying some beers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean,
it's crazy. Like,
this is the thing, Slim. This the thing, man. Like, I understand that, and I'm pretty sure you understand this too. We understand the business aspect of football. Like, at the end of the day, it's about making money. Ticket sales, concession, all these different things to make the team go. Like, we understand that, right? But we also want to be entertained for the money that we spending off in this joint. Like, we want to make we want a product that we can root for. Like, yeah, okay, if the Saints have lost games, like when Drew Brees was a quarterback, the Saints lost games. But at least we okay, man, we lost, but we fought all the way to the end. Now it's like you expect, okay, y'all done renovated the dome. I'm pretty sure y'all going to inflate some of these prices to try to cover the expenses that y'all did. And y'all expect for me to come up in here, spend my money, and I'm joking about this, but I'm kind of serious too. I'm paying $50 for parking and a strong possibility of somebody about to break in my car, bust my glass, and take everything I have. But I'm willing to take that risk to come to the Superdome to watch my favorite team. And this is what you give me. Like, I understand about, like I said, the goods and services part, but when you're not giving me anything that's worth me getting up out my bed and coming out here and driving my car down to Porter Street, bruh, that ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man,
Right.
no, like, bruh, you got to give me something, but they're not giving us anything.
Right. And what I want to say to your point is, man, we got to appreciate number 9. That dude was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he made that offensive line look like gold. And what I want to say is about, and let me say something, TJ, who that nation. Remember how we used to scream about, man, I wish Drew Brees had a great defense, right? Now, all of a sudden, I'm feeling like the Saints have an elite defense and they're wasting it.
Yep.
They're
it's like
wasting
they had
it.
their lead offense and they wasted it. I mean, it's crazy like how they just did that all those years where Drew Brees was the epitome of offensive efficiency and their defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. You know what I'm saying? Like it just and now it's like the offense can't even move the football and the defense is playing lights out. But I do agree with you. You know, I always knew that Drew Brees was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Now I'm really feeling like he is the greatest quarterback of all time. Because how in the world can you have the same amount of players, the same players that made play after play after play? That includes members of the offensive line. He leaves, and all of these guys are like mere shells of themselves. Like, man, he made that offense go. He made guys that were mediocre, he made them extraordinary. He got guys paid that had no business getting paid the money that they was getting. Like guys like Robert Meacham. Like Robert Meacham went to the Chargers, didn't do anything. You know, I mean, you got other players out here, man. This dude done got these guys paid. And the way that this team looks, man, I mean, you got to give credit to Drew Brees, man. Like this dude, to me, it's kind of hard for me to find any other quarterback. Because if you look at like John Elway and, you know, when he retired, they still had a running game in Denver. Like you could put anybody back there, they still was running that rock and they still was a playoff contender. Like even with the Dolphins, you know what I'm saying? Chad Pennington came in, they still was making a playoffs. Drew Brees retired, and I mean the whole thing just went to ish, man. I mean, it's crazy. Like just watching this happen before your eyes. Like it just gives you an even bigger appreciation for what Drew Brees was as a quarterback. Like to me, I don't care about Super Bowls and all that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that we have arguments about to validate people and say that they're the greatest, whatever. But when it comes to Drew Brees, I just feel like the fact that he came to a losing franchise and made them relevant, and on top of that, every single person that played with him looks like a mere shell of themselves at this particular point. Once he retired, you got to give credit to the man.
Right, exactly. Like, the dude, he had a quick trigger. He had a great mental clock, but I'm not gonna brag on Drew Brees too much because we know how great he is.
Yeah,
that's just the bottom line. But going forward though, TJ, who that nation is not looking good. I mean, we 3-3. Our record says who we are. That's who we are. We are average team or below average. Under Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael, yo, it's not looking good.
Nope. And I don't see any end in sight, bro. no end in sight.
Right. Like, let's just be real with ourselves. We are who we say we are. But until they make a change, be prepared with that nation. We hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm still going to watch the game because I'm a Saints fan. But I just feel like we just going to continue to get this mixed bag of win one, lose one. Might win 2 in a row, then lose. Like it's just exhausting, man, because this team has absolutely no identity. Like offensively, they just be doing stuff. Like, man, let's just do a reverse. Yeah, that might work. It's pure desperation, man. And quite frankly, I'm just ready for this experience to be over, man. And hopefully, like they learn from this and just realize this just is not it. And but we'll see, man. I mean, they pretty stubborn over there off airline, man. They pretty stubborn. Like they feel like everything they do works for some apparent reason, but the only ones that actually believe that is themselves because nobody is buying it. You got anything else, Slim?
All I'm gonna say is who that nation. Don't get your hopes up, but hey, it is what it is. TJ, love your show, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. And all I gotta say is who that.
Who that? Yeah, appreciate it, man. Call back anytime.
For sure.
Yeah. Man, shouts out to Slim. Yeah, man. I mean, watch the games. Look, I'm not telling people not to watch the games. I'm definitely gonna watch the games. I mean, even if I wasn't doing this, I'd be watching the games because I mean, I love the team, but man, bro, it's rough. They got to figure it out. They got to figure it out, man. Some changes need to be made. Like, you got to do something at this particular point. Like I said, I'm not looking at Thursday because this is a short week and whatever you got in place, just have it in place, whatever. But when you get these few extra days because you don't have to play on Sunday, let's try to figure something out. Like, let's try to give Ronald Curry an opportunity to call the plays. Let's try to, I don't know, bring somebody in that could be a little bit of a consultant or something like that. Take the time to like maybe look at what other teams are doing and maybe apply it. You know, work on the ebbs and flows of the game. Like, do some things that are unconventional. Don't just sit around and just say, okay, man, we're going to work on this. Put forth a star-studded performance one week because everybody's talking about you need to get kicked out. And then once everybody got quiet and y'all started butt slapping and high-fiving each other because everybody thinks that y'all the best things to slice toast bread on that day. Like, can consistently put forth that effort. And that's my whole point. That's the reason why I feel like change is needed. Because they cannot consistently put forth this effort to be able to generate results, winning results on a consistent basis. I'm comfortable with saying that. That's all I'm saying. Like, I am comfortable with saying these things. I'm gonna read a few more of the comments and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here. And like I said, I do apologize, but I really have something to do that's work related in a few minutes. I said I was going to do it at 1:00 Eastern time, which is, if you're watching this right now, it's past that. So I'll read a few comments and then we'll get up out of here. Let's see. I'm ready for the draft. I'm waiting on a new season. If you want high school pressure, watch the Saints. High blood pressure, I should say. High blood pressure. Yeah, you ain't lying. Not no more. Like, you used to get high blood pressure when the game was on the line. It was, clutch, you know what I'm saying? Crunch time. And, they had a chance to win. I don't get my blood pressure worked up for this team no more. Like, for real. Like, I'm frustrated, but I'm not surprised. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, I'll get myself worked up. You get worked up when the playoffs on the line, the game 17 to 20, you know what I'm saying? And a team is driving. That's when you get high blood pressure. But for this, somebody explain to me, how do you have over 400 yards of total offense and only generate 13 points? Wow. Honestly, we should really be undefeated right now with our first loss possibly coming to the Jaguars. Yeah, if they were a competent team, but we know that ain't the case. TJ, I'm here at the Dome. Got some good pics and video. They're getting ready for Thursday night. Oh man, that's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. Are you going to the game? Or are you just out there working? I know you do. I know you do some. I know you were doing some work out there, I should say. So can someone tell me what was the purpose of bringing in John Gruden? Bringing him in because he knew Derek Carr and he understood Derek Carr tendencies, so, but I don't know, man. The more I look at Derek Carr, like, the more I just see, like, it's pretty much fool's gold here. I mean, I like Derek Carr as a person. I think, like, I don't think the way that he is disingenuous. Like, I think that he's a team guy. I think that he wants to win. I also think that in certain ways, I just feel like he thin-skinned. I feel like in certain ways he a little bit soft. I don't, like I say, I'm not sitting up here thinking like, okay, man, the dude don't have any type of toughness about him. But as a person that kind of plays football and, that played and understand like how things work, like, I feel like, dude, like, too much of a nice guy on the field for my liking. Like patting the guys that trying to take your head off. Like, what you think they're gonna make them stop from trying to take your head off? Like, I don't understand it. You know, like, I mean, the stuff about the Raiders not really letting that go, getting yourself out the game and stuff like that, laying on the ground. Like, I don't know, man. It just, I don't know, man. I feel like a quarterback should be like, I don't know, man. I feel like it should be a little bit different. Like, I feel like he has a level of toughness about him, but I do feel like there are certain nuances about him that stops him from really reaching his full potential. And I don't think the Saints gonna win with him. I don't. I do not. Now, I do feel this way. If you get a better coordinator, he will play better. He will respond to that. But do I think that Derek Carr has what it takes to lead the Saints anywhere? No, I do not. No, I do not. I do feel like a lot of times, yeah, like I said, I think that how he looks at himself sometimes is a little bit delusional, which you should have a high level of confidence about yourself. But I also feel like there's some weak aspects about Derek Carr that I feel like will forever prohibit him from reaching his full potential. Like, do I think he's talented? Absolutely. Do I think that he's a decent quarterback? Yes, I do. But I just think that you have to be made of something a little bit different. I feel like he lacks that cerebral assassin type mentality like Drew Brees had. Like, Drew Brees was cerebral. Like, Drew Brees was a dog. Drew Brees was dialed in. Like, he was a borderline maniac when you think about like the way that he approached the game. With Derek Carr, I feel like it's too much of a political thing to me. Like, you know, being, you know what I'm saying, like I'm lift my teammates up because, you know, that's what you're supposed to do. And I just want them to like me type stuff. Like that's what that's on. Like he just strikes me as a person that just wants to be liked. Right? Like I was watching this show called The Boys. And you know, they got the character called Homelander, and how Homelander just loves to be admired. Like he has some Homelander inside of him, you know. But the only thing is, you know, Homelander had that killer instinct, literally. And I'm questioning Derek Carr's at this particular point. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in. I apologize once again for those that did not. Depends on what happens this evening, man. I'll try to see if I can get back on. Try to see if I can actually do a little show tonight. I know a lot of people probably couldn't get on, probably at work. Some of you probably listening at work. I'm gonna try to see if I can get back on tonight. Depends on what happens. Depends on what my wife got going on. But you can check out previous episodes of the State of the Saints podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Follow me on X at TJAYJones8. Also check out HNSN. That is the network that the State of the Saints podcast is a part of. It's a new podcasting network that I am fortunate enough to help, kind of build up a little bit. They're doing a really good job over there. You can download the app, okay? It's HNSN. Download the app. You'll be able to check out episodes of the State of the Saints podcast. I do an episode every single Wednesday on HNSN. It's a podcast that you ain't heard. It's not like how it is on YouTube. It's not me taking YouTube audio and bringing it there. No, it's a different perspective. And shouts out to everybody that checked it out. And thank you all for your support. Thank you to everybody that subscribed today, that hit the like button. If you have not, please hit the like button on your way out. Be blessed. Don't let the Saints ruin your day. And if anything happened on Thursday that you don't like, don't let it mess up your week. But till next time, all I gotta say is, who that?
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Oh yeah, and one more thing. Somebody said that Soldier Boy owns Homelander. Now you got to give the assist to Billy Butcher. That guy's a beast. Now we get in the show.